Welcome back. It's still Morning Spring on Western Spring Television, and the conversation continues now. We turn our focus to what is happening to Dangote Industry Limited, especially Dangote Refinery. There have been talks in different quarters and corners about what is happening to the refinery, especially sabotage being plotted against the refinery by the international oil companies, IOCs. Dangote Refinery's management has actually released a statement saying that both local and foreign entities tried to sabotage the 19 billion naira refinery project located at Ibeju-Lekki. This morning, we are being joined by Mr. Jose Aseda, who is a policy analyst and a public affairs analyst. He will be talking to us about what is really happening and the way forward for Dangote Refinery at this time. Mr. Aseda, thank you so much for joining us.
It's my pleasure to be here this morning.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm sure you must have heard about the accusation by Dangote Refinery against the international oil company, saying they are trying to sabotage the refinery against getting crude oil locally, and which may affect their output. I'd like your impression on what is going on at this time, because this is one project that every Nigerian, probably every Nigerian, was happy when it got launched. And now we are hearing this crises and challenges, coming against the project at this time. What does this say for Dangote Industries Limited, and what does this say for us as a country?
First and foremost, we've talked about this refinery a couple of times.
Yeah.
And interestingly, we have talked about, we kind of like predicted these things more than 6-7 years ago when this project started. Now, what Dangote Refinery is facing is the pushback that is expected to happen based on the scale and the objective of that refinery. And I think we need to get it very, very clear that, and I would just to put it, I will just mention it so that we can put this conversation in context. And what do I mean by that? First and foremost, we know that, that refinery is one of the most complete refinery in the world, in terms of, and the biggest of its size, of its type in the world. The refinery has capacity to produce all that Nigeria needs, all, when I mean all, as in every pet product need of this nation can be met by that one refinery, and enough for that refinery to also, export. So it meets 100% what Nigeria needs, and then enough to export. Now, what that in effect make that refinery is that it makes that refinery a monopoly. Now, that is the pushback that the refinery is getting from every corner. Initially, we've said this before, that's the initial conception of the refinery should not have happened. I've watched the interview that Aliko Dangote had in Bahamas, and in that refinery, that interview, he mentioned the fact that if he had known that what he's getting is what he's going to get, that they wouldn't have done it in the first instance. Now, the truth is that we did mention these things at the early stage of the conception and the construction of the that refinery. That advice and whatever it is, that advice was not taken. Of course, maybe it never got to him. I don't know. But the truth of the matter is that this pushback is expected because of the monopoly tendency, or the monopolistic capacity of that refinery.
All right.
That said, now let's look at the reality on ground today. Now, I think that given the situation that Nigeria is, the government must look for ways to ensure that refinery works. That refinery must work, in order to bail us out of where we are. One of the major contributor to devaluation of naira, or demand for naira, demand for dollar in the Nigerian economic space is petroleum product importation. You understand? And attached to it also is the fact that you have the subsidy regime. So two things are rolled into one with pet product importation. So, and given where we are right now, and we've been saying this, that the definition of the inflation that we are having in the country is not a question of so much money chasing fewer goods. Now it is beginning to look like it, but that's not really what is happening. What is happening is that the cost of production is increasing, and the major part of it is because we are import dependent. Most of what the country is using to do its production are imported, from the pure water to the pharmaceutical to the, just name it. Almost every industry in Nigeria is importing something from abroad. Now, if you can reduce that, it puts less pressure on naira. So I expect that all hands should be on deck. NNPC, the federal government, put whatever things that they have aside and make this refinery work, so that we can actually get out of this quagmire that we're in.
All
So
right,
that is
Mr.
the
Soto.
issue.
All right. Do you consider this actually a delay tactic by Dangote Refinery in the rolling out of petroleum products? Because some people have said that this might just be a delay tactic by the Dangote management team so that they do not roll out petroleum. Nigerians have this distrust, especially with anything that has to do with government. So they believe that it probably might be a conspiracy between Dangote Refinery and the government as a delay tactic.
Honestly, I don't see how that is helpful to Dangote, because you have to look at the fact that they borrowed a whole lot of money, and a lot of money that they borrowed was against the balance sheet and the cash flow of the Dangote industry as a group. Okay, so they needed to pay back all these loans. I understand from what he said, that the MD, that is the Aliko Dangote, said that they paid back most of these loans, and but they really need to pay back all these loans. So it is not in their interest to keeping that refinery not working. Okay. So I believe that Dangote Refinery, it is in the best interest. It is in their interest to get these refineries working, and that's why they are talking, because they wanted to ensure that they are producing, and then as they are producing, they are making money to be able to pay back.
Mr. Aseda, quickly let me butt in here. In this, that release that was done by the Vice President Oil and Gas at Dangote Industries Limited, Devakuma Edwin, he said multinationals were deliberately frustrating the refinery's effort to buy local crude by jacking up premium price above the market price. So he's talking about IOCs in the country, not even outside the shores of the country. And yes, he lamented that the NMDPRA was still granting import licenses indiscriminately to marketers to import dirty refined product in the country. It disclosed that the federal government issued 25 licenses to investors to build refineries, but only Dangote Refinery was the only one that delivered on his promise. And, part of what he said was that, my question is this, because we are pressed for time. Many persons will say, if you want to play big, that refinery is one of the biggest in Nigeria, the whole wide world. And they are saying if you want to play big, you must play the game big. And so, as a business, consultants and an investment consultant yourself, I want to say this is not child's play. When you're talking about oil, you're talking about everything, intricacies that has to do with the big guys. Wouldn't you say this is the time to play big? Why are you complaining?
Now, actually, I will say this. I will say this, that, that the Dangote Refinery ought to, they know what is going on, that they understand what is going on, that they really need to ensure that they get their product, the refineries working. The IOCs, I'm telling you, are doing what they are doing because the Nigerian government is not supporting, as it were, the refinery as it should. Okay, so what they are saying basically is that, look, what the IOCs basically are doing is just playing after what the government of the day is doing. I'm sure if it were to be a Jonathan government or a Buhari government, then we will not be having this kind of issue. But this is Tinubu government, and Tinubu government is not so favorably disposed to Dangote.
Why? Why would you say so, Mr. Aseda? Why would you say so?
Now, of course, this is very clear. Dangote before now has been apolitical in the things that he's been doing, because he doesn't put how do I put it? He doesn't put his business in the way of politics. But in the last one, he actually bet against Tinubu. He invested into articles,
That's an allegation, isn't it?
And this thing is common knowledge. But meanwhile, so that is one issue, you understand, that is on ground. Because ordinarily, you will expect that this Tinubu government will be working for Dangote Refinery, because being in that one of the early caller in that Lagos Free Trade Zone, which was set up by the Tinubu administration, or conceived by the Tinubu administration.
Right.
He one of the earlier, early buying into that vision. And of course, they should be able to. But meanwhile, you now see politics coming into it. But as I'm saying, look, we have said this before, politics aside, and this is what we keep saying, that politics should be put aside. That refinery, I can tell, as I've said before, in free economy, it is an aberration for free economy in Nigeria.
Okay,
you understand? Because if you look at other places in the world, nowhere that a monopoly is encouraged. Because when you are encouraging the monopoly, it's getting this kind of problems along the line.
All right, Mr.
And it's not good for the economy in the long run. So what we are saying now, this government should put that aside. There's no way that you could say, that the IOCs it should not arise at all.
You have to go now, Mr.
Now,
Aseda.
let me tell you, I used to work in the oil service industry as a corporate planning and strategy, manager. And
we have to round off the conversation now, Mr. Aseda.
Yes,
definitely,
I'm trying to say that the inflow, our revenue from the IOCs is in naira and dollars.
All right.
You understand? There's a naira component, there's a dollar component. So if you are not earning, if you are not earning naira, you cannot possibly be giving.
All right, Mr. Aseda, we have to go.
That it is really, really.
We have to go, Mr. Aseda. Thank you so much for your time and your take this morning. We appreciate you. We know you have a lot to talk about, but definitely we'll bring you back so that we can have a wider conversation on this issue. Investment consultant, business and policy analyst. Thank you so much, Mr. Jose Aseda, for your take this morning.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
All right, that's the conversation. You can watch a recap of this edition on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television. We'll make a return tomorrow. Until then, have yourself a good day. But of course, Spring Trends comes right after this broadcast. My name is Evelyn Ohiolei.
Femi Ojo is my name. God bless Nigeria.